Hi everyone, in this session we will add another job to our GitLab CI CD pipeline related to code coverage. So what is code coverage? It is one of the ways to measure how many lines of our code gets executed during unit test or automated test execution. So Jacoco is one of the tools used to generate code coverage report. So more the percentage of code coverage means good quality of code. So if you look at the Jacoco site, we have the version 0.8.7. That is the version as of now, that's the current version. And what we'll do is we'll add this plugin to our pom.xml file, and we will see how the report gets generated, once the unit test are executed. So I have the code, the plugin code that needs to be added. You can get that from the site itself. If you go to the some of the documentation here, you can see the examples. Okay, let's see here. If you see Maven plugin, and you can see that you'll have what are the plugins that you need to add, and the reporting plugins that you need to add into your pom.xml file. So for that, what I have done is I have just little tuned few of the things here to get everything working for the Jacoco code coverage plugin. So we'll start with the first thing is code coverage version. This is something that we'll add to our properties. We are using a version lesser than the current version, that is 8.6. So that is what we have added here. Okay, to our properties tag in our pom.xml file. Next, in our build tag, okay, here in the plugins, what we're going to do is we are going to add the Jacoco plugin. Okay, so there are, like, if you see, there are many execution elements, execution tags here. Okay, we'll go through each of it and I'll explain you what exactly they do. So first thing is, let's add this plugin to our tags here, that is plugins tag. Okay, so here first thing is what I'm doing, the Jacoco code coverage. I have added the plugin with the version that will get picked up from the one that we have added at the top, that is this. And then what I'm saying is, in the execution during the prepare package, okay, prepare package phase, I want to generate the report. The goal is to generate the report. So what it's going to do is, for this, you need to understand the different phases of Maven. If you look at the, if you go to the Maven site, and if you go through the default life cycle, you can see there are many life cycles here, like validate, compile, test, and there is one thing called as prepare package. So this gets executed. This go phase is basically before the packaging, that is before the Maven tool creates the package, that is the artifact. This phase is invoked or gets executed. Okay, so that's what we are using here. Just before the package, we are generating the report. So that is what this execution means here. So what it is going to do, this is basically going to generate the reports. Okay, so next we have the add checking. So for that, what I'm going to do is, this is something that I will show you what exactly this does, that is the check goal. Before that, let's do this. Let's remove this for now so we can understand each execution or the reporting plugin that we have added here. So here finally what we do is, in the configuration we mentioned where is the executable file of the Jacoco. Okay, so for that, first let me do is clean the build here. I'll just do clean. So what it's going to do is going to clean my target folder here. Okay, so there is nothing in the target folder. So one thing that you need to remember is, as we said here, the reports get generated, okay, during the prepare package phase. So if you look at the Maven lifecycle here, we can use either package or we can use verify, right, to for this to generate the reports. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to use verify, because verify is something that it says run any checks to verify the package is valid and meets core quality criteria. So this is something that is used and also used for code quality checks whenever you are doing some packaging or building your application. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the configuration with verify, and if I run this, okay, I have a typo here, apply, and if I run, so you can see that unit test gets executed, because as we know that normally all this gets executed, that is all this phase. If you say verify, then it has to go through all these phases, right, which also includes test and packaging. And that's the reason why you see that if I refresh here, you will see under the target folder, you see the unit test files as well as the package, that is the artifact that gets generated. And the Jacoco reports will be present under site folder here. So these are the reports that gets generated. So now you can browse here. Let's go to this, and I would say here, and I'll open this with the index.html, and you can see that we get the report of all the execution of our unit test and any automated test that we have in our application. So now what basically does, okay, what are these branches and instructions, and what does that it means, this percentage and all those. So basically, if you look at the Jacoco documentation, it says that what it does is basically it will give you the information of the lines that got executed, that how many lines got executed, and if you say branches, if you look at here, the branches, this is basically, it says if there are any if else or any switch statements in your code, it would check all those branching statement, and it will show that how much of those branches are covered in your application. Okay, so how many if conditions met, how many switch conditions were executed, and how many all those else and all those branching statements, it will give you all those information here. And instructions, these are nothing but all the number of lines that gets executed, it will give you all those coverage here. So basically, the higher the percentage, it represents that okay, your unit test, that what you have written was able to execute almost like all the lines and branches. So this makes you set a goal to achieve higher percentage of code coverage. So if you set like 90% of code should be executed during your testing, automated testing, then that makes that okay, your unit test covers maximum code coverage, that is all the lines and branches are getting executed. So that makes your application more reliable and making sure that it is less error prone. Okay, so with that, you can also go into in depth, like here, if you can go to the controller class and see exactly how many, you can see that the color here says okay, this was executed but not the return, and not this, but this was executed, right? So this way it shows you that what are the lines got executed, and which is something that you might go back into your unit test file and write some test cases for the one that are highlighted red. Okay, So that way again, here it says 66% covered, and it also shows that missed complexity, missed lines, and all those methods. How many methods you have? 4 methods. Classes, there is 1 class here. So all those information you get it in this static HTML files. Okay, so let's go back here now and look at our pom.xml file, and let's add another. This was a default. Okay, there is nothing that you have added, and it just generated you the report. But what happens now in the GitLab CI CD YML file, when the pipeline runs, and you want to make sure that when the code coverage does not meet the required percentage, and if you set a goal that 90% code coverage should be completed or should be met, so in that case what you want to do is you want to fail the execution. You want to say that you want to fail the pipeline. You don't want to build that package, right? So with that, what we can do is, to achieve that, we can add another execution to our pom.xml file, and that we'll call it as check. So let's go here and add that here under execution, and I will call this as Jacoco check, the ID, and the goal is check, and this will get picked up in our verify phase of Maven. And what I'm doing here is the rule that I'm adding. I'm saying the class, that means every class, the line, that is the line that is instruction, should have 80% code coverage ratio, and the counter, that is again the branch, should be covered as 80%. Okay, so currently I don't have any if else, so there won't be any branching, I think. But line, let's see, because the line what I saw was around 60% or 66%. So this Maven build should fail. Even if I run this, it should fail. Okay, let's see. Let's save this and rerun the Maven build. And you can see that the Maven build failed, and what it says is lines covered ratio is 60%, but expected minimum 80%. Okay, so the lines failed. Okay, the line coverage, that is instruction, failed, but the branch passed because we don't have any branches, so it's 100%, right? But this thing failed. So this is what we actually want in our CI CD pipeline. Okay, so for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, because I don't want to go and write some code in test, but you know what exactly you need to do, right? Go back to your test file here, in your test case, write some code, make sure that you meet the minimum limit, okay, or the expectation, the code coverage, and make sure that it runs successful. Okay, so in real time, this is basically not just 80%, it is more higher. They make it like 90-95%, and make sure that everything is covered. Okay, so for now, just to get or pass this, I'll just downgrade to 60%, and let's run this. Okay, it still says, okay, the lines covered ratio is 33%. Okay, so looks like I still need to go back into the, let's see where exactly it is. Okay, so it's 33%. Okay, so let's go make it that. Okay, let's make it 33%. So I have very low code coverage ratio here, which is not expected, but just for demo, I'll keep it 33% here. But in your case, make sure that you have this higher, around 90 minimum. Okay, fine. So now you can see it's successful. Let's commit this code to the GitLab, but before that let's add a task, okay, here, and that would be for our code coverage. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a code coverage here task, and I would call this as code coverage, and I would do this basically. You can have it after package or build, you can do that, or you can have it after test, okay, because build is actually we are having package which which happens even in verify phase. So you can have it under after test, or you can have it run in parallel with the unit test itself. Okay, so let's do that. We'll run this code coverage along with the test phase, that is unit test. So here I'm going to have stage, and I'll call this as test, and then I have a script, and the script will be maven verify, and I'm going to have this artifact, and artifacts when always pass or fail. I want to generate the artifacts always. Okay, then I'll have the path. The path is going to be target site. Okay, target and site. Yes, it gets generated under site. Yes, and I'll call this as, yeah, fine. That's fine. I will upload the whole Jacoco folder here. Next, I'll have expire in 30 minutes. Perfect. So I think we are all good. We have now unit test, code coverage, and build phase. So let's commit the changes. We have pom.xml file and YML file. So let's go to our git staging here, and I would say this as code coverage changes. Let's commit and push. It is pushed now. Let's go back to our GitLab and let's refresh this. Okay, code coverage changes are here. Fine. So let's see the pipeline. Okay, so it's still pending. It might sometime take a while for the GitLab runner to pick up the jobs. So I'll wait and see how this gets picked up. Okay. Okay, so now it's picked up and the jobs are running. You can see that the unit test and code coverage are running in parallel. So let's look at the code coverage here. So this might take a little while for because it's going to run all the phases and also generate the reports. Okay, so the job completed successfully. So let's look at the reports. Let's refresh, and you can see that the reports, the artifacts are here. Let's browse target folder, site, and Jacoco, and you can see that we have all the artifacts here. So now you can download and see, you can check the code coverage. Now let's do one thing. Let's go back here. Let's first complete this job, okay? And then we'll make a little change to make sure that our failure scenario is also working. The build job is running. Okay, meanwhile what we can do is we can make some changes here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 90% and even this as 90%. Okay, so I have the line coverage as 90% and even the branch coverage as 90%. So in our scenario, what is going to happen? It's going to fail. Okay, so let's see how that will look like in our GitLab CI CD. Okay, so I'm going to say this code coverage update. Okay, let's see the job completed. Yes, so our pipeline is completed. Okay, and let's push these changes. Let's go back to our GitLab and it should get picked up. Hopefully, yes, it's picked up now. Now let's see the code coverage, okay? And you can see that now the job failed with the exception of saying that we have user controller at 60% and the Spring REST service application at 33%, but the minimum is 90%. So with this, the build job is not going to run because we have a failure in our test phase. So you can see that unit test passed, but the code coverage failed and the build was not triggered. Okay, so this is what we want to have in our pipeline. So once if there is a failure, what happens is the developer will go back and make some code coverage fixes and then checking the code again and making sure that all these phases, all these jobs pass. Okay, so I think we are all clear with how to add the code coverage to our application and also set up in our GitLab CI/CD pipeline. So that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.